Hi, welcome to my Holy Priest Guide, Mythic Plus guide. I'm going to be going over the stats, trinkets, tier set bonuses, and some core abilities, talents, the cooldowns, the rotation, and what you should be prioritizing, and then why I prefer Holy over Disc this season. So about me, I play Disc and Raid and Holy and Keys, and we're progressing Smolder on now. Um, I've been playing Priest for about 8 years, so I know quite a bit about it. Now for stat priority, I think haste is really strong for Mythic Plus because if you have enough haste, then you can cast heal and still keep up without having to even proc your Lightweaver, and sometimes you can just keep up with heal, or if you're not using Lightweaver, if you have enough haste, you can just cast heal, and it actually will save you mana. Like, so, lots of people run into problems because they get too much haste and then they just cast Flash Heal. And they will run out of mana very quickly. But if you have enough haste for the key level, then you can cast Heal. And that's during your times where you don't have to pump a massive amount of healing. And then for high keys, I would go Verse above crit, um, but currently, I'm running crit above verse because it's haste crit for disc grade. Um, and another benefit of crit is it will proc your Pontifex, which increases your next Holy Word cast. And we don't have as big of Holy Words as last season because of our tier set is changed. So it's actually a lot more noticeable now, because you don't just full heal people no matter what with it unless you have that. And then also when you critical heal with flash heal or um, penance or regular heal, then you will give people a 5%. Um, every time you cast a heal, you'll get an echo of light. So for probably like 20% of the amount. So after 2 seconds, they'll get like a 10% heal, and then after 2 more seconds, they'll get another 10% healing. And then tertiaries, I would always try to bully your raid leader into giving you avoidance if you're trying to push keys as holy. Um, because I think you should try to get at least 10% avoidance, just to make up for the fact that you're wearing cloth. And it's very useful on a lot of different possibilities. So next is the trinkets. I think the best one for holy right now is the Smolderon trinket, the Smoldering Seedling. So that trinket is really good because it basically summons a totem, and and that totem will start with like 20% health or something, and when you heal it, it will duplicate that healing onto every single person in the group. Um, so basically, it turns your single target healing into a group heal, so you can use your holy word sanctify or holy word, your blue holy word, to heal the whole group, and it's insanely good. So I actually love that trinket, and I rotate it with Apotheosis as my cooldown. But prior to having that trinket, I was really fond of the Balefire branch because it's a short 1.5 minute cooldown, and so whenever you're in the middle zone where you don't have Apotheosis, or you couldn't have prepped with Divine Hymn, then you use this trinket. Um, so, and then the last trinket I want to spotlight is the Leaf of the Ancient Protectors from Everbloom. It's really good. It's just a big shield for yourself, and it's like a chi cocoon or a life cocoon from a monk. And so, a couple other trinkets. This Echoing Tearstone from Dawn of the Infinite is really strong. I prefer it in raids more though, but it's also good in Mythic Plus. So what you do is you stack up. When you activate it, it's kind of like Valen's Future Sight, but not exactly. So when you heal, it stores all the healing like a Cloudburst totem, and then when somebody drops below 40%, they get healed instantly by this Tear Stone. So it's really good spot healing trinket. It's probably the second best trinket or the best Mythic Plus trinket you can get for an on use. Because while you have that safety blanket in place, you can sit on some of your other cooldowns, which is kind of the name of the game is holy. You want to make sure that you're not blasting Apotheosis unless you need to, and this trinket would help. The last one is the Mirror of Fractured Tomorrows, and that one is just a secondary. It's like a stat stick that you proc. It's similar to the Balefire branch in the way I was mentioning using it. Um, Now this is the stat sticks, and this is all the trinkets on QE Live. It's called Questionably Epic Live. Um, Questionably Epic is a really good website. It lets you sim your healer for which gear you might want to wear in raid, and just will show you how certain things will affect your performance. So, according to this, the tier stone is the Omega best, and then uh, for stat sticks, the coagulated Genosaur blood, the second one on the list, is crit stat stick. It's good. If you can manage to get your guild to give you a pips uh, badge, that would be great. But I'm not expecting that. Um, and then C star is good. So basically, for stat sticks, you want the blood, the C star, or you don't want outer socks. I don't know why. Or you. Oh, the third option is the Blossom of Emirdrasil, which is very strong. It works similar to the Tear Stone. So when someone drops low, it'll just proc a heal on them, and it's actually really good. It does probably about 6-7% of my healing sometimes in a key, which is if a trinket's doing 4% of your healing, that's pretty good. So 6 is really good. Anyways, so now I want to talk about the Holy Tear Set bonus. So the two-piece makes it so that your holy words just uh, apply renew to the target, and the four and so your holy word serenity will apply 18-second renew, so your single target will give you 18 seconds of renew. And this is also important because there's a talent that makes it so your healing will do 3% more on everyone with renew. And then Sanctify applies renew for 6 seconds, and you usually want to try to hit at least 3 people with this spell, otherwise it's not necessarily worth using the cast. Obviously, if you're just healing one person and that's and it's gonna save their life, and that's all you have, that's definitely the right play. But generally, you want to try to hit 3 people. But if it is the one ranged who, for some reason, you used other stuff on the melee and the melee are healthy, but there's a ranged hurt, then yeah, use your yellow holy word. And the 4-piece makes it's 3 procs per minute, and you can have two of them at a time. So you don't necessarily want to be sitting at two stacks for a long time, but if you don't have to use your holy words, you want to keep as many stacks as you can, right? So uh, it's just insanely important. And the more you play around watching the stacks and holding your apotheosis when you have 2 stacks or even 1 stack at many times, and just using the trinket, so trinket plus 1 stack of your 4-piece or something like that can be really, really strong. Strong enough to carry through a boss mechanic or something like that. I don't know why mastery is so late in this video, but it when, we already talked about this. When you heal someone, your mastery is going to proc, and it's a pretty basic thing. So you don't really need to worry about this. You don't need to track it on your healing frames or anything. You just know that when you cast a heal on someone, they're going to be getting healed in the future. To play around this, a lot of times, so say there's a boss mechanic coming out. In 5 seconds. You don't want to cast anything for 1 second, right? But if you cast something like 3.9 seconds before the mechanic goes off, and then you cast again, and so you'll have right when the mechanic goes off, you'll get an instant echo of light, and then so for the 4 seconds leading up to a mechanic, it's actually low-key super important to be casting heals on people who are full health. Anytime there's a huge AoE damage or something like that, Holy might not be able to keep up if you don't hot as it were with your Echo of Light. So it's something to keep in mind. Your Holy Words abilities. Okay, this should be in a different section. Fuck. Um, so when you every single talent build that people are using today uses Divine Image. I saw one specific person who was not using that, but that's it. Um, and because of your tier set bonus, you get 3 extra holy words per minute, so you're getting what, 6 a minute at least, right? So you 6 a minute, and it's 9 seconds per thing, so it's almost like you could have 100% uptime maybe on it in theory, but um, Divine Image is the pet that you summon. It's a little. Let me summon it now. So this is the pet right here. I summoned it, and when I cast a heal, you see it just turned at me, and it's looking at me because it's duplicating the heals I just cast. So let's go and look at those. So when you cast any Holy Word spell, including your damage Holy Word Chastise, then you'll proc your pet, and you can have up to 3 pets at a time. Well, I think you can have like 5 pets at a time if you just smash Holy Words. um, and it's really good. So when you cast Prayer of Healing or Divine Hymn, you'll give it does an AoE heal to your group, 5 people for a small amount. When you cast uh, Heal or Flash Heal, I don't know why it doesn't say Heal. Also, you'll generate the Healing Light, and that heals them for a relatively good amount. When you cast Renew, it'll apply a second hot to them, which also does proc your mastery. Uh, and then when you cast your Holy Word Sanctify, then uh, it it does the same 5 target heal, but it's just a little bit chunkier. And also, uh, I wanted to say that Prayer of Mending is also on the Holy Light Healing Light. I don't know why I don't have it listed, but Prayer of Mending is actually one of your strongest abilities for um, proccing Divine Image Healing. So a lot of times you'll want to cast your Holy Word, then get the Prayer of Mending off cooldown, and then because it's just it does a good amount of healing when you cast it. Plus, it's healing in the future. So, and then finally, you can also use this talent is also good because it provides damage. It makes your pet just cast a second Holy Nova. So I'll get a couple of. So right now I have a 3-stack pet up. You can see right here, and when I cast, it's trying to duplicate my spells. Okay, so and then your smite will do slightly more damage when you are using Divine Image during the time. Now for core healing abilities, uh, your your bread and butter is going to be Prayer of Mending, Flash Heal, and Heal. Those are the spells you're casting the most often. I treat Power Word Life like an additional Holy Word. It's almost as powerful as your Holy Word Serenity, the blue Holy Word, but it's not quite as powerful. And obviously it has the so anytime someone's below 35% health, this is your primary ability because it's so strong. And I'm not sure why some priests are not using it because it helps fill in the gaps. Like why would a monk not use uh, expel harm or something like that? Um, and then the final ability that most holy priests don't even use is Power Word Shield. It's insane. Prior to going into a pull, you'll want to Power Word Shield yourself, and uh, on a fortified pull, and then you'll probably be Power Word Shield the squishiest DPS just in case something is going to be thrown at them or a cast will be attacking on them. You don't want to get one shot. So if you can keep Power Word Shield up, it's great. Um, I would not have been able to time high tyrannical, well, 25 tyrannical Oakheart had I not been power word shielding the Evoker. So I used Fade for myself, Power Word Shield the Evoker, and Power Word Shield the Moonkin, and because I knew I wouldn't die through Fade at full health. But I don't know if those guys are gonna be using something or not. And Evokers are notorious for just dying for no reason. I think they're squishier than Hunters, honestly, if they don't use Rescue, because they just don't have personals. Like, they have externals, but they don't really have that much personal power. Um, anyways, now core damage abilities. Um, again, Holy Word Chastise will proc your Divine Image. So, like, going into a poll, you do something like Chastise, uh, Holy Nova, or Holy Fire, then Imperial Blaze, Holy Fire, Holy Fire, Holy Fire, then maybe you'll Divine Star, and then you'll Holy Fire again because Holy Fire is off cooldown. As long as you're casting your Holy Fire relatively, maybe every 10 seconds, every 12 seconds, it doesn't necessarily have to be on cooldown, but every 12 seconds or so would be great. And then uh, just don't cap your Rhapsody stacks, then you're going to be doing most of the damage. And Holy Priest should expect anywhere from probably 15k at the low end uh, overall to 50k, 60k at the higher end. Um, and in order to achieve numbers of 50 or 60k, it's kind of group dependent and pull dependent, and your group has to play clean and well for you to be able to do those numbers. So if you're in a pug with lower level players, you'll necessarily have to do more healing, and you won't be able to fill in as many globals with damage. And then the final two abilities I want to talk about is Divine Star and Halo. These are options. Um, I would generally just go with Divine Star. It's really good because it's usable on the move, which gives you another ability. So you'll have Prayer of Mending, Divine Star, Renew, uh, Flash Heal proc. So you'll have like four different pretty decent heal. And then you have also you have Holy Nova, which when it's fully stacked is a pretty decent heal. Um, Now Halo, I don't really think it has much use in Mythic Plus, but for Raid, it's really strong because you can pre-cast it before an ability comes out, and essentially get an extra cast on that ability, that damage ability that you wouldn't have otherwise had because you're casting it before the damage happened. So for healing or for damage rotation on 5+ targets, I talked about it a little bit, but um, you open with your Chastise. You want to proc your Divine Image. So now your pet's active. Then you cast first, uh, your first, what's it called? Holy Fire. And now that Holy Fire is on cooldown, you can get your Rhapsody on cooldown. Once Rhapsody's on cooldown, you get your uh, Divine Star on cooldown. You can do that; those two kind of swap them around. It doesn't really matter. And then, likely after you casted your first Holy Fire, you already had casted. Uh, what is that stupid spell called? Ephemeral or Imperial Blaze. Okay, so Imperial Blaze. So once you cast Imperial Blaze, then you can use your three uh, Holy Fires and then go back to spamming Holy Nova. And try to. Yeah, it's the simplest damage rotation in the game. For single target, you want to chastise, get your Shadow Pain up, and for 5+ targets, you also want to Shadow Pain the highest health mob. I didn't put that in, um, but for single target, chastise, get your dots up, Rhapsody, because it does more damage than a smite. If you can be in melee, but sometimes you just might want to save it on healing. Then you Divine Star, Imperial Blaze. The only reason I Divine Star before Imperial Blaze is because I like to let the mobs group up, and I like to get it on cooldown because it's a shorter cooldown than Imperial Blaze. So And then you just spam your smite until your chastise comes off cooldown. So talent selection. So this is the build I run for Ataldazar, Darkheart Thicket, Waycrest Manor, and the Throne of Tides. One caveat to that is Fortified Throne of Tides. Your tank might ask you to mind control the Oracle. And let me go show where that is. So right here is the Lust Pull, and this Oracle right here, so this is the start of the dungeon. You go through, and most people pull this entire thing at once. So a lot of people will ask you to mind control this Oracle, and potentially this Oracle. So those two major long hallways are where mind control is particularly valuable. I usually don't take it because I prefer to have as many talents for my own defense as possible, assuming we have the kicks. And this is my talents for Black Rook Hold, Mirazond, Galakrond, and Everbloom. You don't need a disease dispel, so the primary difference here is you have the I obviously don't take disease or purge, and I take mass dispel instead. And then I take the snare root break right here, which is the Phantasm activating Fade removes all snare effects. That's usable in Dawn of the Infinite, uh, Mirazond, and Galakrond, and I don't think Everbloom, so in that case, I might pick up Shalaron right here, so I get a little more uh, leech, but that's one of the talents I recommend dropping. And so this is the spec tree optional talents, just laid out in a simpler way you can understand. If you flex out of these green talents at the bottom, those are just high level key survivability talents. Instead of Spore Cloak, you have this other talent that is basically a Spore Cloak. Pretty cool. So yeah, those are optional talents. And now this is the meta build that most people are running. About 18 of the top 20 holy priests are running. Maybe it was 17 or so. There's about 3 people running the build I run. Now the benefits of this build are, so let's go over the keys. So at the bottom, your capstones. You got Miracle Worker, and that gives you 2 charges of holy words. So between those 2 charges of holy words, you could have 6 holy words at a time built up. If you had full charges of your holy words plus 2 stacks of your um, 4-piece, that's 6 holy words you could chain in a row, in a row, in a row, in a row, in a row. This build does have some merit on because it allows you to more freely use your holy words, uh, and you can go down to 1 stack of holy word and still be fine. If your 4-piece proc, you can still use another holy word, right? Uh, but I don't like this build. I don't. Uh, you're you're relying on Apotheosis procs and playing around that with this talent here at the bottom, Answered Prayers. So after you heal 50 times with Prayer of Mending, you get Apotheosis. So it's really leaning into that, and outside of Apotheosis and my uh, holy words, if I ever run out of holy words in this build, I feel so weak. I feel like, why am I not just playing disc if I don't have more spot healing or substantially stronger spot healing? And that's why I prefer this build, the Lightweaver build. It's used by about 3 out of the top 20 priests. I'm, what, number 12? So the bonus is you get insane value from every time you cast a holy word. Your next heal is gonna do 25% more. It makes your next Lightweaver empowered heal it makes that heal almost as powerful as a holy word. And your spot healing is unrivaled in this build. It, you can't be beat, except for maybe a monk, but they're going to use so much more mana to do what you're just doing with Lightweaver. It saves so much mana. It allows you to play around. Uh, it you're so strong outside of any cooldowns with your just two basic abilities of flash heal and heal that you can save holy words for when someone gets a mechanic, when someone gets a dot. So you don't use holy word serenity. You keep your holy words off cooldown. It's you don't want you don't want to run into a situation where you don't have holy words up. You need to have those off cooldown for when you need them. So, and then once you consume your holy word serenity, so I just used my 4-piece proc and now I cast again. Now I'm a little bit worried. So I'm running on my Lightweaver and now I'm no longer worried. So now once I'm in this situation, I can cast on my group, cast heals, or cast renew on my group, get them, hot it up, get my uh, increased healing from renew, popped on them with renewed faith, and I'm just chilling. I got 2 stacks of Pontifex, so that means my next holy word is going to do 40% increased healing, and that's something the other build doesn't have. You have more holy words, but it's not doing 40% increased healing, so I don't understand how uh, the random apotheosis and the ability to use holy words a little more liberally is worth the drop of your spot healing. I That's why you play holy, like, is because you can spot heal anything. On Throne of Tides, someone gets crushing depths. Are you worried? No, you're a holy priest. You can heal through it even on 25. Like, what? Like without a guardian spirit. Like, I, anyways, um, so yeah, that's why I prefer the Lightweaver build over the other build. So going over the weaknesses again is you have to sit on your holy words. You want to keep them ready for when you need them. Now cooldowns, planning, and priority lists. So goals are if you have your 4-piece set with 2 stacks, that's your cooldown for the time. That's your next cooldown for the next damage event. It's your 4-piece. You got that's 4 holy words. Like, how is that not enough? Um, and in between each holy word, you can cast a heal, which is buffed by a massive amount by you just cast a holy word. So you heal, holy word, heal, or flash heal, holy word. Um, it's a lot of healing. You want to save Apotheosis, it's kind of your oh shit, I'm out of holy words, something bad's about to happen, I need, or if you have to, if you know that the next 20 seconds are going to be hell, you pop this. You go into a big pack, uh, for instance, the Lust Pole of the first pack of the dungeon, you probably Apotheosis. Um, and then fill in the gaps with your Trinket. So, if you don't have 4-piece, you don't have Apotheosis, you maybe just have 2 holy words, Trinkets, that's all you got. So you're gonna uh, the smoldering seedlings is legitimately a cooldown. But if you're stuck with something else that just increases your stats, that's fine. Use that and muscle through the healing. Um, and then Divine Hymn. One thing I wanted to talk about with Divine Hymn was make sure you cast a holy word before you use it if you're actually trying to use it for healing and not because on like a 22, 23, you should be able to use Divine Hymn and heal through the mechanics. But once you get a little bit higher level, you might have to start casting Divine Hymn before the damage. Um, so many times you'll just want to chastise right before Divine Hymn, so you proc your pet, and every time your Divine Hymn heals, it's gonna cast 5 different. Your pet's gonna cast 5 different spells. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's getting it. Your pet is doing a substantial amount of healing during Divine Hymn if you have it active. And that's something that a lot of priests don't do. Particularly in raid, it's disheartening when I look through someone's logs and I don't see them doing that in raid. It's like that's a pretty big deal. And then the last cooldown isn't really a cooldown, it's an external. Um, but Guardian Spirit can be used as a healing cooldown if you're, for example, you might pair Guardian Spirit and your 4-piece. If your 4-piece you don't think is going to be enough, and between all of this, as long as you're not abusing your apotheosis and just keeping it off cooldown, like having it off cooldown, if it's not ready when you need it, you're gonna have some problems. But don't think it's the most powerful ability ever. It's just to get your holy words back, and then you can cast more. Utility spells. So we got mind control and the chastise stun. So the chastise stun is something I want to talk about. I have strongly on fortified weeks. I strongly consider dropping this talent, renewed faith, picking up chastise stun. Because you don't have a kick, and chastise is an incapacitate. Uh, it's not great. So, for example, on a fortified pull, if you spec into chastise stun, and you're just say you pop apotheosis, uh, and then you're using your Holy Word CDR to get more chastise. You can stun like 4 different mobs, 5 different mobs every 3, 4, 5 seconds, and it's pretty helpful. Like the control is really really useful. Symbol of Hope. I honestly probably should have put that in the cooldown section, but in between during boss downtime, usually after the first or after the second set of mechanics comes on a boss, because there's usually what 4, 5, 6 times something happens. Uh, if you if you a lot of people will hold their defensives for the first thing. They won't use anything. They'll expect the healer to heal everything, and then on the second event they might use a defensive. So by the time 2 big boss damage events have happened, you can be pretty confident that most of your party's abilities need to be reset. And that's when you would Symbol of Hope. Not to mention, it gives mana based on your percentage health. So if you wait till the second damage event, then you'll probably get a little bit more mana back because you'll have spent a little bit more mana by that time in the fight. And oh no. So ah. So Fade and Desperate Prayer. I don't know why it has a Divine Hymn thing. I'm really sorry. But Fade and Desperate Prayer, you cast it before the damage happens. Just just like him. For so you might want to 10 seconds before this thing happens, you might be casting uh, getting your holy words back. That's number one goal, right? Your holy words are back. Okay, what can I do? I can cast Divine Hymn, and then the damage is about to happen. Okay, I will cast Fade and Desperate Prayer. Try not to do that super far before the damage happens, but uh, like a second or two before the damage happens, it's not going to hurt anyone. As if you want to get that off cooldown so that you can focus on healing someone else and not have to worry about yourself, that's fine. And then Guardian Spirit, you should be using on the tank probably 30 to 50% of the time, and then you should be using it on the highest damage melee dealer uh, a lot of the time for trash packs. For bosses on Tyrannical, you should exclusively probably use it on the tank. Um, for fortified trash, you might need to be using GS on the tank more often. It really just depends on the tank, the affixes, and how much help they need. Okay, holy healer filler spells. So we've kind of gone over this. You always keep Prayer of Mending on cooldown, and then you keep Renew active on the tank if you can, so that you keep that 3% buff on him, and also do some passive healing to him. Uh, So if your Holy Word Serenity is on cooldown, your priority is getting it back. We've gone over this about 3 times so far, but it is insanely important. If Holy Word Serenity is ready and you have 0 stacks of your tier piece, or 1 stack, you will renew the rest of your party until they're buffed. Once they're buffed, you can, or if you're trying to save mana, you don't do that. But most of the time, you want to try to get your 4-piece back so that you don't have to waste your other abilities, and you can lean into 4-piece. It is so strong that you really can do a lot of heavy lifting with it. Now, if Serenity's ready, you have 2-piece, or you have your 4-piece procced, 2 stacks, then do extra damage. Now, obviously, if in the situation 3 right here, where if your Serenity's ready, you don't have any stacks, and you don't need to be building a 4-piece stacks up, then just do more damage then. But if you are worried about the healing check, then try to keep those renews up to get your 4-piece. So strengths, high single target healing, and you can shield allies before damage happens. One of the only a couple healers who can do that like every single time. You can stop mobs with from spellcasting with Holy Word Chastise, and also with Psychic Scream, but that's yeah, not always gonna work. And one underrated ability is you can let yourself die. You can just die, and it's called Spirit of Redemption. So, what is this called? Spirit of Redemption. Upon death, you become a Spirit of Redemption for 15 seconds. You cannot move, attack, or be attacked, but you can cast ranged spells and abilities. So, say you're in Spirit of Redemption. Say that you have a situation where one of your party members is going to die. As a Holy Priest, you can let yourself be that person to die. You can get everyone else to 100%. Then get yourself to. Then, if there's time, get yourself to 100%. If there's not time, you die. And is that a problem? No, because you're an angel. And you can heal for the next 10-15 seconds and cancel your angel form when it is an appropriate time. If you need to cancel it early, then you can cancel it and allow your group members to resurrect you. Now, there's some weaknesses. You can be one-shot even through Fade. I haven't really experienced this yet. It's still early in the season. I've only done 25 and 26 keys. And I don't think I've been one-shot through Fade yet. I also have 12% avoidance because I have a avoidance trinket, but on my Smolderon trinket I have avoidance. But I've seen other people get one-shot like hunters, and I don't really think there's anything that one-shots through Fade up through 25. I don't think so. Haven't found it yet. You have relatively low healer damage. You'll maybe be doing 15, 20k lower than you might be as disc, but you're trading the fact that you have stops, you have stronger spot healing, and it, yeah, you can help the group because by just doing massive amounts of healing, and you don't have to control the mobs as well. And the last problem is you have, if the group is massively spread, like on third boss of Everbloom, you're not going to be hitting more than 2 people with your Holy Word Sanctify. So that's going to be a tough challenge. So situations like that can be very difficult for Holy when it's spread AoE damage. And that is probably the #1 area when it comes to actual HPS that I think Disc is head and shoulders above Holy. Because a Disc can just have its atonements out and heal the whole group when they're spread. And then the last weakness is you don't have a DR. I think that with the Trinket from Everbloom, it's probably good enough. But again, you see Holy Priests are topping off at 27s right now, whereas Disc Priests are topping off at 29s. And I think that lack of DR is a situation that's causing that. So, why not Discipline? Discipline really struggles with spot healing, and I just feel like I keep the group so much safer when I'm holy, and I I can stop stuff from a range with Chastise, and that's invaluable unfortified. I I'm to the point where I think the disc might be just better for tyrannical for me, but I don't know, like and then the number one benefit is power barrier. I I mentioned this already. Disc or Holy Priests are falling off at 27 keys now. Alright, well, thank you for watching. I hope it was a somewhat manageable video. I think it's like a 30-minute guide. I hope it works. So, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, let me know. Um, if you think I'm an idiot for using Lightweaver, let me know. I would be thrilled for any feedback. So yeah, thanks for watching.